summarize everything.
The essence is, if you don't understand the word meaning and how it is going to impact us,
Okay, so
if you just see the essence, then it will.
okay, so we'll go with the essence, as we have a limited devotees today. So I would rather not just hurry up with the Bhisma Stuti, though this is the first prayer that I've learned in my spiritual life. And to set a little background before we jump on the first verse of Bhisma Stuti, as we don't have a PC today, so I won't be able to project the verse. But as we go along, we will understand word by word the Bhisma Stuti. Okay? So, as we understand, the last time we spoke that. So, is anybody here who doesn't know Bhishma Pitama? They may have heard Bhishma Pitama first time. I hope everybody knows Bhishma Pitama. So what happened? After the war of Mahabharata, just very brief, okay? After the war of Mahabharata, when Yudhishthira was crowned as the king of the Bharat, he was lamenting. And when he was lamenting, there are a lot of sages, a lot of rishis came along. Vyas Muni, Parashar Muni, Narad Muni, Swayam Narad Muni. He came by and they tried to console him, because he was lamenting for what? He was lamenting because the war that happened, there are so many citizens or so many people were slain. They died, they were killed. 16 million. 660 million. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So 660 million citizens or people died. And Yudhishthira was like, he was feeling that it is because of me. Had I not chosen to wage a war against Duryodhana, even though Duryodhana wanted to wage a war, he wanted to fight. He wanted to fight Yudhishthira and Pandavas. But Yudhishthira thought, you know what? Even though we couldn't get 5 villages that Krishna asked for, it's okay. We could have stayed in a jungle, in a forest. We lived so many years in a forest. Why do we need a kingdom to rule? So when Lord Shri Krishna was present there, Lord Krishna was looking at Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira was crying. He was tearing. And Krishna said, even if you look at the age-wise, Yudhishthira was elder than Lord Shri Krishna, age-wise. So Lord Krishna was saying, Bhratashri, oh brother, what happened to you? Why are you crying so much? And Yudhishthira said that, you know what, because of this war, now I and my brothers, we all have to go to hell to repent our karmas. And Lord Krishna smiled. Why he smiled? Because, see, sometimes what happens, the small kid, let's say age of 1 year, 2 year, 4 years old kid, right? If he is crying, and the reason could be that whether he is hungry or whether he has any problem in his stomach or something, right? But what if there is no problem in his stomach and he is full? Means his belly is full, but he is still crying while his mother is in front of him. What could be the reason?
Attention.
He wants to have attention.
Attention, okay.
He needs something.
He needs something, okay. I try to keep this class as interactive as possible. See, sometimes what happens, no offense to Matajis, sometimes Matajis put up a lot of makeup. And when they put up a lot of makeup, the kid doesn't recognize the mother. And
Oh, that
I'm
is.
just saying.
Want to turn off this?
No, don't matter, they're not here.
Yeah.
Outside Matajis. So I think just forgive me. This is just to understand. So what happens when they put up a lot of makeup, right? And then when the kid wants to go to, well, this is my personal experience. One day it happened that I went to a wedding, and one Mataji's, my relative gave me her kid to me. And I was playing, he was about 2 years old. And when then she put up a lot of makeup, a lot of hairstyle and everything, when she came, that kid was not going to her, and he was crying, and he was looking at me. Even I couldn't recognize that Mataji. So I mean to say that sometimes we don't, this is the scenario you put in front of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira was not recognizing Lord Shri Krishna. So Lord Shri Krishna thought that, okay, now this is a time for me to give the credit to the beloved devotee, Bhishma Pitama. So he thought that even if I give more, like, if I give preaching to him, if I give some kind of discourse, lecture to him, he wouldn't understand. Because there are so many sages who tried to explain it. So what happened? Along with Pandavas, Shri Krishna go to Bhishma Pitama. Now Bhishma Pitama is lying on the bed of arrows. His vision is restricted. He could not see anybody except somebody standing in front of Bhishma Pitama. So what happens? As soon as Lord Shri Krishna enters in the battlefield, that aroma of sandalwood spread across. And Bhishma Pitama, lying on the bed of arrow, he smells the aroma of sandalwood. The wind that blowing and passing through Lord Krishna's body and touching Bhishma Pitama, all his hair standing at the end. And then he understands immediately that this is my beloved Lord Shri Krishna. So when Pandavas along with Lord Krishna, that present, they are in front of Bhishma Pitama, there are a lot of discussion happen. Because when Bhishma Pitama saw Yudhishthira Maharaj crying, he immediately understood. What he understood? That this Yudhishthira doesn't have a conviction. See, very important thing, conviction, this word. In a bhakti, if you don't have a conviction, then whatever you do does not have any meaning. The conviction is the base. See, if you look at the case of Arjuna, when Arjuna was told Srimad Bhagavad Gita, what he said, Karishye Vachanam Tava, I will perform whatever you say, Lord Krishna. And Krishna said, are you sure? He said, yeah, I'm sure. And there was a case in Mahabharata, which I will not go along because I have limited time, I have a lot to cover today. So in that case, what happens? That Arjuna had a conviction in Krishna, but Yudhishthira did not have any conviction. So as soon as Bhishma Pitama sees the water in Yudhishthira's eyes, he understood immediately that he doesn't recognize Sri Krishna. He thinks Krishna is his brother or his relative, but he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So what happens? Bhishma Pitama gives 5 dharmas, the knowledge of 5 dharmas. Stri dharma, Raj dharma, Dana dharma. There are a lot of dharmas, a lot of duties being told to Yudhishthira Maharaj. But after finishing everything, now Bhishma Pitama turns toward Krishna. And what he says, the chapter number, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter number 9, verse number 24. Sa Deva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam. Means now Lord Shri Krishna, come in front of me. Why? Why you wanna see me? Have you not seen me before? Yes, I have seen you before. But now I am about to leave my body. Kalevaram. Kalevaram means body. Kalevaram yavadidam means I am about to leave my body. And until when I should stand in front of you, Krishna says? It says that you should stand until I leave my body. So the verse goes along that how should I stand? Should I stand like dancing? Should I stand like smiling? Should I stand like this? Bhishma Pitama says no. You need to stand as you normally do, like Smith, a smirk. Lord Krishna has a little smirk on his face all the time. Have you ever seen Krishna's portrait or an idol where Krishna is like, no, he always smiles. So this is the background of the lecture we went through last time when I was here. Again, I repeatedly asked Prabhu, arrange my lectures subsequently on sequential basis, but he's not here, so I can't complain.
You can complain now.
Okay, so let's understand the first verse of Bhishma Stuti. This verse, first canto, chapter number 9, verse number 32. I will go along the verse. You please repeat after me. Are we all ready? Yes. Okay. So the first verse goes like this. Bhishma Uvacha Iti Mati Rupa Kalpita Vitrushana वितृष्णा भगवती शांत पुंगवे विभुन्ने भगवती शांत पुंगवे विभुन्ने वसुमुख उपगते क्वचित् विहरतुं प्रकृति उपयश यद प्रभाव स्वसुमुख उपगते क्वचित् विहरतुं प्रकृति उपयश यद प्रभाव. So let's understand this verse. Very beautiful verse. This first verse is the surrender of Sri Bhishma Pitama. It's very important. The surrender is very, very important in terms of bhakti. If you want to attain Krishna or even attain the mercy of Krishna, the surrender, until you surrender to Krishna, nothing will happen. Why? Even if in Bhagavad Gita, verse number 7, chapter number 2, where Arjun partially surrendered to Krishna. When he surrendered to Krishna, Krishna starts speaking. Until then, Krishna is not speaking. If you read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, if you look at the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the first full chapter is spoken by Arjun only. Arjun is lamenting all 46 verses, and including Sanjay speaking, that's separate. And until 7th verse, even 11th verse when Lord Shri Krishna starts speaking. So, what we need to understand from the scriptures, until you surrender to Lord Shri Krishna, Krishna will not reciprocate to you. Then we understand that, okay, if I don't surrender to Lord Krishna, Krishna will not reciprocate to me, then what is the use of doing the bhakti? I'm not at the stage of Srila Prabhupada, who's fully surrendered to Krishna. What will happen to me? Krishna sends his devotees. Krishna sends his devotees to give us a mercy. It's very important. See, Bhishma Stuti, to understand the significance of Bhishma Stuti, it is very well in the Ramayana also. There is one beautiful pastime. Is it okay if I use a lot of examples? Because I know sometimes people don't like examples.
Stage is yours, Prabhu.
No, I want to just make sure that we are connected while I was trying to portray something to you. Okay. So in a Ramayana, see, this is to understand surrender. Why I'm saying that? Because if you don't understand the surrender, the Bhishma Stuti will not click to you. The first verse of Bhishma Stuti is the surrender. So in a Ramayana, when Lord Sri Ramchandra was in exile, when he was in a forest and he was going to Chitrakoot, there was a Sharbhanga Muni. There was a sage called Sharbhanga, name of Sharbhanga Muni. And what happened to Sharbhanga Muni? He was about to leave his body, and he was told by the sages around him that don't leave your body. Why? Because Lord Sri Ram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is in the forest and is about to see you. So the Indra comes down from heaven. When he comes down from heaven, and he said that, okay, Sharbhanga Muni, now it's time for you to come with me. Sharbhanga Muni said, you know what? That even heaven, the Lok heaven, the planet heaven, I don't belong to that planet. I'm supposed to go higher than that. So Indra goes by. And then Lord Sri Ram, Lakshman Maharaj and Mother Sita, they were looking this scene. So as soon as Lord Sri Ram enters in the kutir, in the hermitage, of course Sharbhanga Muni is very old. He actually gives a lot of stuti and he offers prayers and everything. And what happens? Lord Sri Ramchandra, he smiles and says, and he gives a Navdha Bhakti, of course he gives a Navdha Bhakti, the preaching of Navdha Bhakti. But then Sharbhanga Muni says that Lord Krishna was very inquisitive. He said, why did you not leave your body? You could have attained me anytime, of course. Sharbhanga Muni says very important verse. And this is what the base of the surrender. Lord Sri Ram, when Sharbhanga Muni said, Lord, when do you give your bhakti to somebody? When Lord gives bhakti to somebody, Prabhu? No, that of course surrender, but in general, does Lord Shri Krishna or Lord Sri Ramchandra would give his bhakti to his devotees directly? Prabhu said no. Why Manusheshna Prabhu?
Unless they surrender, right? He's not going to give bhakti.
It has more meaning than surrender, Prabhu. See, bhakti means pure love. You have seen the child, the small child. His love to his parents is so sublime, it's so pure. So what happens? Whatever the child wants, the father or mothers, they give them whatever they want, right? We agree? So similarly, when Lord Krishna or when Lord gives his bhakti to his devotees, the Lord is bound by his devotees. So Lord does not give his bhakti easily. So in that case, what happens when Lord doesn't give his bhakti easily? He sends his devotees. Like even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will talk about it. He himself is a Krishna. He himself is with the mood of Srimati Radharani. He comes as a devotee. He doesn't come as I am the Supreme Lord. Now come with me, follow me, I will give you Hare Krishna Mahamantra and you will all will fill with the bhakti. No. He comes as a devotee, as a Srila Prabhupada. He is a pure, supreme devotee. The devotee gives the bhakti. The Lord himself does not give a direct bhakti. This is the gist, this is the essence of surrender. So what it means that you need to first surrender, before surrendering to Krishna, surrender to his pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada. If you surrender to pure devotee, and they are so merciful, Vancha kalpa tarubhayascha, kripasindu evacha. All the devotees, all the Vaishnavas are so merciful, they are like a kalpa vruksh. They will fulfill all your desires that you want. Of course, you don't have a desire of having a Mercedes car because you are in a bhakti. But I mean to say that when you follow the bhakti, surrender to his devotees. So let's understand Bhishma Stuti, first verse. The Bhishma start, the first word of the Bhishma Stuti start with iti. In a Sanskrit, anything that to start, any prayers, anything that you want to start, it starts with atha. Atha is a word. Atha is I'm about to start, and then you start. Atha, etc., etc. Atha Ravana Kruta Shivatandav Strotam Jatatavi Galajjala. Atha. Iti used when something is to end. Let's say iti, and then you finish the thing. So why Bhishma Pitama is using the first word iti? What do we understand from this? Why Bhishma Pitama is using the word iti?
He's dying.
He's dying. Okay. He's dying. Very good. Anything else?
Talking from history perspective. So he's used in this history because already has a prior understanding, prior conviction. So based on the past, they'll talk in the future. Thus, you know what happened long ago. Based on that, then there's the ET.
Yeah. So, very good, Prabhu. Thank you. See, in Bhishma Stuti is about 11 verses. Each of the verses, there are 3 words, or probably some verses may contain words, some may 2, or some of 3. 3 words, if you understand, you would understand Bhishma Stuti. So the first word is a gati. Gati means a spiritual progression. Gati, the second is mati. Mati is your intellect. And the third one, which is the most important, is rati. Rati means the pure love. The pure love for Krishna. So as we go along, I will explain you more about those words. Those are the very important words. So the first word is iti. Iti, as Prabhu said, and even Part Prabhu said, anything to end. So Bhishma Pitama is about to leave his body. So it signifies that I'm about to leave his body, my body. Now in Vedic culture, it used to be the case when you approach a king, Raja, or if you approach your guru, a spiritual master, or if you approach Lord, if you go in temple, right? Or you actually have something with you in your hands. You don't go empty-handed. You actually go and like sometimes you have fruits or some sort of gifts for a king or for a spiritual master or Lord. So now, as we understand that Bhishma Pitama is on a bed of arrows, he thinks that I'm very much restricted now. I cannot do anything. What can I give it to my beloved Lord Shri Krishna? So he says that iti mati rupa kalpita. What he wants to give? His intellect. He wants to give his intellect. Now let's understand this. Prabhu, please don't answer this one. I'm going to quiz the other devotees. The Bhishma Pitama had how many kids?
No.
Jail. He was not
None.
married.
None.
His Maya is like he's telling it directly that take away all my desires, material desire. These are my daughter. That's what I heard in the like
Okay.
my Kanya, you know.
You leaked the news, leaked the answer paper. Anyway.
She never married.
He never married. He's celibate, right? Okay. So when he said, when he's what he's saying to Lord Krishna that I have one daughter and she's unmarried daughter. As soon as he says this, Lord Krishna, all Pandavas, all the sages, Narad Muni, all the eyebrows were raised up. What? You have a daughter? We thought you are unmarried. So one of them said that, oh, it is like Gharwali Baharwali. In a girl, in a home, you are showing everybody that you are celibate. And outside you have a daughter and at the age of man. So Sri Krishna, even though he knows everything, he smiles. He said, okay, you got a daughter. Okay. So what about the daughter? What is that? He says, I have one daughter and her name is Mati, intellect. So he said, okay. Krishna said, okay, you got a daughter. All living beings have one daughter. We all have one daughter. And that is our intellect. Can I say something which is, of course, nothing to offend anybody, but very, very, very spiritual to understand this. Very beautiful. See, there is a difference between the Western thinkers and Vedic philosophy. There is a very subtle difference. And what is the difference? The Westerners think that the intellect, they use that intellect as their maid servant. How? They say the Westerner thinks that as if I wish something, I will create that, I will acquire. So they use that intellect as their maid servant. Whereas in Vedic philosophy, see the greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam is that even the intellect is here described as the daughter. Now here we have some fathers who have a daughter, like our Janice Prabhu, for example. So this is the father has a very special relationship with the daughter. Those who are all the Matajis would reciprocate with me, they will understand what I mean. They have a special relationship with the father. Whatever they want, they ask the father. If they go to mother, for example, and say, mother, when they come the age, when the daughter is growing up and says, something is happening to me, the mother says, so what? When I was at your age, it happens the same to me. There is no mysticism. But in terms of the father, to see her daughter grow up, there is a mysticism. The son has a more bondage with mother, and the daughter has more bondage with the father. Are we all agree? See, there is one example I want to use. It's very old example that we used to use in back in days when I was small kid, when I was in school. But just to understand this example, you will understand what I mean to say. We used to have one stone. We used to call it the multi-purpose stone. We used to use that stone for everything. If you want to have for example, break a coconut, we used to use that stone to break the coconut. If we did not have a door stopper, we used to put that stone there and as a door stopper. It was multi-purpose stone we used to use, right? I'm sorry I'm using this example, but just to understand this. Let's say this example. There was a couple, husband-wife. The husband, out of husband-wife, the wife, they go to a wedding, somebody's wedding. And the wife is wearing beautiful diamond ring. Very beautiful, very expensive. And the wife, again and again looking at her finger, saying, wow, beautiful ring this my husband gave me. But then she's saying that, oh, well, the ring is so beautiful, but that the diamond is very loose. And I don't want to lose this diamond. If I don't pay more attention to this ring every time, I may lose the diamond. So what she does, she takes out the diamond, she puts in something and goes in her car and puts the diamond in the car so that it can be kept in safe. What happens? when they come back from the marriage home, when they come back home, it's little late, about 1 a.m. in the morning. And they don't realize it, and they go to bed. What, middle of the night, about 3 a.m. in the morning, the wife recalls, oh, that diamond, it's there in the car. She wakes up, she goes to the car, and she opens the car, she gets she fetches the diamond, and she puts the diamond back in her safe. Right? Now understand this with a daughter. Daughters are like this, precious. And the son are like that stone, multi-purpose stone. There's no value. Why? Because see, if the father has a rule, for example, that everybody has to come before 10 in home, right? They set the rules. If the son is late by, let's say, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, hour or so, if he comes late, the father may scold him. Say, hey, this is the time. Do you know the time? But if the daughter is late by even 5 minutes, the father will react more. Why? Beta, you don't have a watch, you don't know all the rules of the home, you should be by home by 10. I hope all the Matajis may have the same experience, I guess. Why? And the teenager daughter thinks that my father is very partial to my brother and me. My brother has more freedom. He can come 1 hour late and there is nothing. Then he will not scold him. But even if I am late by 5 minutes, my father will scold me. But the daughter doesn't understand this. The father has a possession feeling on daughter. It's a pure love. You understand this? The son, if he is in a bad company, the father may scold him. Right? I understand that your friends are no good, your company is no good, make sure you leave that company. But for a daughter, if the daughter does anything little wrong, the father will not tolerate. Are we all agreeing, Matajis? Are we all on the same page? So what I'm trying to explain you here is the intellect is that daughter. Here Bhishma Pitama says, my daughter, my intellect is so precious to me. I want her to marry you. So Krishna says, okay, you have your daughter as an intellect, you want to marry me, so you want to give it to me. But what is so special about your daughter? You know, sometimes when we in India, as we all know, for a marriage purpose, when we're looking for groom or a bride, we look at qualities, biodata. We see the biodata. Okay, so what is there? She's looking beautiful, she's educated, she's this, and then she's looking the same thing as groom too. So Lord Krishna says that, okay, I will marry your daughter, but what is so special about your daughter? Tell me. So Bhishma Pitama says that my daughter is Vitrushna. Vitushna. What does that Vitushna means? Vitushna means V means without. Trushna means desire. My daughter is without desire. See, Lord Shri Krishna, sometimes the commentaries, the sages will say, is the Bhishma Pitama trying to portray or is trying to say that the Lord Krishna doesn't have intellect? Why? Because sometimes, when we go to somebody's birthday party or some other ceremonies, we actually try to give them a present that they don't have it. Let's say Prabhuji is so supreme. So let's say Manu Shrestha Prabhu has 100 pairs of clothes, for example. If I try to give him one more pair of clothes, he doesn't need it. He has 100 pairs of clothes. So rather I will gift him something that he requires, he wants. So similarly, Bhishma Pitama is trying to give his intellect to Lord Shri Krishna. So here some sages say, okay, Bhishma Pitama, are you trying to say that Lord Krishna doesn't have intellect? He doesn't have a mind? Bhishma Pitama says, yes. And everybody's shocked. How could he say that? He's the supreme personality of Godhead. Bhishma Pitama says that his intellect and his mind is stolen by whom? Rajeshwari Srimati Radharani. So now his intellect is there with her. So I am giving my intellect to him. Why? So Bhishma Pitama says that in recent past, when Arjuna was bewildered by his compassion towards his family, when Bhagavad Gita was spoken in chapter number 12, verse number 8, Bhishma Pitama says, Mayye eva mana adastva, mayim buddhi niveshaya, nivishishyasi mayye eva, atah udva na sanshaya. What does that mean? Lord Sri Krishna said, Mayye eva mana adastava. Mayye eva in Sanskrit. Mayye, this is a Saptam Vibhakti. He says, Mayye, in me. Eva. Eva means only. Mayye eva manah adastava. Fixed your mind in me only. Krishna says only. He doesn't say me and some others worldly affairs. No. He says, Mayye eva mana adastava mai buddhin niveshya. And then your intellect. Apply your intellect. Invest. Nivesh means invest. Invest your intellect in me. Mayyeva buddhim niveshaya. Then what will happen? Nivishishyasi mayyeva. Nivishishya means to dwell. If you dwell in me, if you reside in me, I promise you I will reside in you too. And then what will happen? Ata udvana sansaya. Ata means therefore your gati means your progression will be at my kingdom. I will make sure that. But the rule is eva. That's why I said eva. Mayye eva. Mayye eva. Only Krishna. So this is the intellect, is pure intellect. How would we know that the intellect is unpure? What are the symptoms? What are the characteristics? Mataji, anybody from this side? How would we know that our intellect is corrupted?
What they say, what they think, what they do is different. They say something, do something, say something, think something. If the intellect is intact, so the intellect is servant is mastermind. So whatever they think, that's what they say. What they say, what they do.
The problem with, yes, thank you, Prabhu. The problem with the intellect is, see, I give you a very good analogy to understand this. You will love this. The intellect, let's say intellect. The problem with the intellect is one. Intellect has one daughter, and that is called desire. When you have a desire, what would happen if you have a lot of desires? Kamlesh Prabhu, what would happen if you have a lot of desires? Any desires, any material desire. Since we are talking about desires, mostly people have a desire of worldly matters, very material desires. So Prabhu, what's your name, Prabhu? Kishore Prabhu. So Kishore Prabhu, what happens if you have so many desires? Let's say you have a desire of buying a Tesla car. Example, just to understand. If you have so many desires, what would happen, Prabhu? It will not be fulfilled. Okay, unhappiness. Mind get disturbed. Excellent. Yes, very good. See, the problem with the desire wants why you have a desire? Because you want to have a happiness. You want to achieve happiness. In fact, it's not a happiness. I would replace the word happiness with a pleasure, enjoyment. Because happiness is something different. But I would say enjoyment. You want to enjoy something. So because you want to enjoy something, you have the desire of attaining that particular stuff, right? But what happens with the happiness? That in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna mentioned this. There are 3 doors of hell. There are 3 doors of hell. What are they?
Lust, anger, greed.
Lust, anger, and greed. Yes, very good, Prabhu. So see what happens with the desire. When you have a desire, that means you want to enjoy something. When you want to enjoy something, that particular enjoyment has one more daughter, and that daughter is a greed. Why? Because unless I have a lot of money, I have greed of money, I would not be able to buy a car, I would not be able to buy a home or something else, whatever you want to have desire of, right? So that desire has a daughter that is called happiness or the enjoyment, and the enjoyment has another daughter called a lobha, greed. And because of this greed, we do all the pap. We agree? We have a lot of greed, and that's why. This is what Lord Sri Krishna, Arjun mentioned, that in chapter 3, verse number 7, 8, that one does not have an inclination towards doing a papa, sin. Then why we are doing why we incur a lot of sins? Krishna says kama. Because of the karma. And calm, why there is a calm, why there is a desire? Because you want to enjoy. And why you want to enjoy? And because to enjoy, you have a greed. That's why. So greed, enjoyment, and if when you, let's say if I want to acquire this laptop, let's say Srila Prabhu wants to acquire my laptop, and I don't give it to him, what would happen?
Snatch it.
Of course, you will not snatch it, Prabhu. But what would happen? He will be angry at me because I'm not giving this laptop to him. Similarly, if you have a lobha, if you have a greed and that is not fulfilled because you want to enjoy, your krodha, your anger, actually that kicks in. So the desire has a lot of problems. That's why Bhishma Pitama says, my mati is my intellect is vitrushna. Vitrushna means without desire. I don't have any desire to enjoy this life. Whatever I've done throughout my life, how old Bhishma Pitama was when he was in a bed of arrow? Does anybody know except people?
175?
He knows. He attended my class. Yes, 175 years old. So 175 years old. So what he's saying that throughout my life, means since his birth till he is a bed of arrow, I have never had the desire of enjoy anything. Whatever is done only and only for the welfare of his kingdom, Hastinapur. So here, what Bhishma Pitama is saying that my mati, my intellect is vitushna, vidar. And see, if you want to offer something to Krishna, it has to be pure. Can you offer anything to Krishna that is impure? Let's say even if this Mataji is doing mala for Krishna, right? If this mala is impure, would we be able to offer this to Krishna? No. So our intellect has to be pure in order to offer to Krishna. So how that can be pure, how that intellect can be purified? The less desire you have, or probably if you are desireless. So does that mean that if I don't have any desire, should I just wake up in the morning, do my karmas, do my all activities, and accept nothing in return? Is that what Bhishma Pitama is trying to say? Mataji, what do you think? Nobody. Okay. See, Bhishma Pitama is saying that to have a desire is good, but if you have worldly desire, then you would have a problem. What problem here? In a Bhagavad Gita, in a second chapter, verse number 50, Lord Shri Krishna says, Durena yavaram karma buddhi yogad dhananjaya buddhav saranam anivichya kripanaha phalahetavaha. What does that mean? Because of this greed and desires, if you don't leave these activities, abominable activities, the activities that you should not do, you must not do. Those who leave the activities, if they take a shelter of this pure intellect, then they will understand the purpose of my life is to please Krishna, to attain Krishna. And those who are not doing it, they are kripanaha, they are a miser, because they want to keep that phala hetavaha. They want to keep the fruit of their activities within themselves. If I'm earning a lot of millions of dollars, but I'm not giving any cent for the purpose of Krishna consciousness, there is nobody miser than me. So Krishna, here Bhishma Pitama trying to explain that I want to offer my intellect to Krishna, but that intellect has to be very pure. And how you can purify your intellect? By not having the desires. But what desires? The worldly desires. You can have the desire to serve Krishna. You can have a family, you can go to your job, you can go to a business, you can do everything you want to do. Bhishma Pitama, see, Bhishma Pitama was a statesman, he was a general of army. So do you think that Bhishma Pitama did not have any desire? Whether he wanted to fight or not, that's a separate thing. But while he was general of the army, he wanted to protect Hastinapur. He had a desire. So how can you say that Bhishma Pitama's intellect was desireless, but his desire was for Krishna? He was a supreme devotee of Krishna. He knew that what would happen the end of this war. Had he decided, if Bhishma Pitama had decided fight the war against Kauravas, there was nobody in Kauravas family would have stopped it. But why he fight the war against the Pandavas? We will learn this in a second verse of Bhishma Stuti. But as the time is approaching, I'm going to quickly finish my verse. So to understand this, Bhishma Stuti, the first verse is that your intellect has to be desireless or at least trushnaless. So for devotee's desire is how? It is a Visishta Trushna. Visishta means special, Trushna means desire. What is the desire? Is to serve Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan network, to serve Vaishnavas. If you have that desire, then Krishna will definitely accept you. But if you have worldly desires, if you have material desires, then you are still far away from reaching to Krishna. I have still a lot to say on this, but since the time is about over, so I will have 5-10 minutes for question answers. So I end my class here. Thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, any reflections, please do share. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I have a comment.
Your comment, yes.
Yeah, it was so nice, how you explained, unbeknown to me all these years, how Bhishma smelled Krishna's sandalwood. And back in June 1st of 1971, I was in Mexico at the Mexico Temple, and Srila Prabhupada arrived there from Los Angeles. And I was walking by his quarters on the way to the Sankirtan room, and his doors were open. He was getting a massage on the balcony. It's a beautiful temple with a swimming pool, very opulent. And I saw his dhoti on the floor. So I picked it up and I washed it. And I washed it by hand. And it smelled like the finest sandalwood, both the top and the bottom. And I'll never forget that. So and I washed it, I ironed it, and I put it in the dryer. But that was interesting that Krishna also smells like sandalwood. So your analogy not analogy, your fact actually reminded me of my experience with my spiritual master. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other question, comment, reflection? Yes.
Yeah, so thank you, Prabhu. I think you're going to have part 2, part 3, part 4. Which is totally fine. Ramdev did the Ramayana, so it's good. So we can continue because whenever somebody wants to share. The point I was trying to make is those who don't know Bhishma Pitaka is one of the Mahajans. You all know, there's 12 Mahajans. So out of 12, 11 Mahajans will teach. What we can learn from this, what to do. So Krishna is teaching us through Brahma, through Bhishma, what not to do. So that's reason he stands out. It says Mahabharata, mother teaches what to do, father teaches what not to do, it balances out. So this Mahajan, Bhishma, teaches what not to do, but internally is a great devotee, but externally is staying with the Kauravas, whatever he supported and whatever it is not supposed to be done. So that's very painful. So that's reason he's very dear to Krishna. Because when everything goes well, this is another Mahabharata, when everything goes well, even the devotee is wonderful, amazing, comfort, convenient, it's my zone, I can do all this. Little bit something happens, that's where the test comes. The Bhishma teaching is a pinch will come, nobody is exempted. So when that time, so if you pinch the orange, what comes out?
Juice.
Orange juice. What is inside will come out. So when the pinch comes to devotees, it will not come from neighbors, it will not come from others because we are almost away from them. It will come. And that what is inside will come out. That we can't even stand for an that smell. We're thinking it is inside me, but I'm suppressing. When Krishna pinches, it comes out. I can't even stand my own. But Krishna is standing for that all the time. He knows it, he sees it. So the point of saying is for Bhishma, what we can learn is this principle, what Krishna is trying to teach us, no matter what. So bhakti trying to see So it's not like when I want, how I want, where I want. What it pleases to Krishna. So let's I just come to say when you get out of bed, he's fatigued, tired, he's being too long, he's seen so many things, and then Krishna brings everybody. When Yudhishthira was feeling bad that he was reason for 60 people there. Krishna consoled him, Narada consoled him, Vedavyas consoled him. Nobody could not console Yudhishthira. So that's where Krishna brought him to Vishnu. Vishnu says when Krishna tells Vishnu, please tell, he's feeling bad, say something, please look at, I cannot even look at my eyes, look at my state, what can I speak, my head is down, I'm fatigued, tired, so I'm ready to leave, what can I say? Then he says, I give the knowledge, and I give the strength, then I give the remembrance, you can tell him. He says, but I can't tell directly. You're giving me to tell him, so why don't you tell him? That's where he said, I'm like an ocean. Only the creatures who can understand can live in the ocean. Not everybody can live. So, I'm also like a sun, take the water out and bring the cloud. The cloud is a devotee. The same ocean water goes as a cloud, comes as a sweet water. So that's the reason I want you to tell the world what not to do. By your example, they understand, then they will do what need to be done. So Vishnu is very, very important. And one of the greatest pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. All the things is very clear, straightforward what to do. Those two, one is Bhishma, who is standing on the southern side, other is Uttarasara. These two are the gem of devotees, but the heart is devotion, outside is different. So only those who understand that, they will never right.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Prabhu, I'm not a pure devotee. Bhishma Pitamaha is a pure devotee. So I'm a practicing, struggling sadhaka, right? So being a practicing sadhaka, struggling sadhaka, how do I differentiate what is worldly desire and what is not a worldly desire? Because I'm going to work, I'm doing everything like every other person does in the world. So, and I'm not sure to differentiate that oh, this desire is not worldly desire, this desire is a worldly desire. So how is sadhaka, being a sadhaka, how to differentiate?
So Mataji asked a question that she doesn't understand what is the worldly desires and what are not. So with this, as I previously explained, anything that is except Krishna, anything you minus Krishna, all are your desires are material desires. So even Krishna, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Sthita Pragya. He talks about in verse number, chapter 2, verse number 50, where he talks about Prajahita. Prajahita yada kama. Prajahita means to give up. Prajahita yada, when, kama. Kama means desires. When somebody leaves his desires, Prajahita yada kama, Sarvan means only not one desire. Sarvan, every kama. Partha manogatam. Manogatam from your mental concoction. So the desires come from the mind, from man. Because we have done so many things in our past lives. So we accumulated those desires in our mana. So here Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 250, he says, Prajahita yada kaman sarvan partha manogatam atmanaya. See, this is the seventh vibhakti of Atma. Atmanaya. So the one who dwells in Atma, in himself. Atmana eva atmana tushta. What happens then? It says Sthita Pragya Tadochyate. That's called Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragya means transcendental, pure devotee. To be a pure devotee, Krishna has very beautifully describes, even very good example Krishna gives in verse number 58, chapter number 2, where tortoise example. To understand this example, I put it in today's perspective. Let's say we have a Sunday feast and there is a beautiful cake out there. As soon as you see the cake, the polluted minded, the person who doesn't have a pure intellect, he would think that I want to eat this cake. The second example where the person's intellect is little purified because he's performing Krishna consciousness, but he's not at that level yet. So he would think that because his intellect is getting a little purified, he would think that, you know what, I should not eat this cake. Why? Because it has so much sugar, it has so much calories, for example. It is not good for my health. But the person who is pure Krishna consciousness, what does he do? As tortoise does. What the tortoise does, Yada samharate chayam. That's verse number 58. Yada samharate chaham. Means, Yada means when. Samharte winds up. Chaham. Chaham means himself. He winds up himself. Like Kurmo, Angani. As a tortoise retract his limbs. Kurmo, Angani, Sarvasvaha. And what happens then? When you do that, then Indriyani means senses, your senses, we have 5 senses, right? We all know. So what happens? Indriyani, Indriya Abhyarthes. Means when you see the sense object, your Indriya, you see cake. I want to eat cake. My Indriyas, my taste buds are activated. But what happens? When you retract your senses from that, then what happens? Pragya pratisthita, then your pragya, when you become conscious, and by practicing this, Mataji, so basically you need to withdraw yourself, your indriyas, you to withdraw whatever desires come. In one practice I always say, I will always say in my class, whenever you have desires, don't neglect the desires. I normally invite the desires. If I have some desires, I invite, say, oh, you desire, so beautiful. Take a cup of water, sit down. When the desires sit down in my mind, then I say, when I chant Hare Krishna, I said, Hey Krishna, I have a desire of getting X, Y, Z. Please take that desire and don't fulfill. If you keep practicing this, one day, one time, you will see that the desires will come like oceans. Ocean have so many waves. It goes off and on, but it doesn't trouble the ocean. Similarly, the desires will come and go, but it will not trouble you. So you have to retract your senses from the desires, Maharaj. That's what I understand. Hare Krishna. Any other question?
Just adding that, as you said, the desires you can retract, but again, Krishna also says in I think third chapter, unless you channel them, you keep them back. You cannot suppress them. So we have to learn them to engage in service of Krishna. Then eventually the desires is natural for the soul. But what kind of desires and what we do with the desires? While we are doing what is the state of consciousness, that will be purified. We channel. Otherwise, what happens? We kept them. So it will overcome it. So we have to engage them in Krishna's service. So we have to engage them with Krishna purifies. It's not like mind is a thing that Krishna will not control. It's just something that Krishna is like knowledge. But if we engage them with the Jnana Vairagya, with the knowledge and the attachment and the Krishna, it will be purified.
Yeah, I have a question. So, Hare Krishna, thank you for the very good class today. One question I have is, how does one know that they have genuinely surrendered to Krishna? Is there a sign or is there a way to know that?
So Prabhu asked a question, how would you know that you have surrendered to Krishna? How did Arjun come to know that he surrendered to Krishna? Karpanya doso prahat svabhava prachamitvam dharma sambhuda chetana. See, because of the Karpanya dosh. What is a Karpanya dosh? That my intention, why I came to this life is to enjoy, as Mataji asked a question about desires. When you are settled in sense gratification, your mind is there only for the sense gratifications, to pamper your senses, that understand that you have not yet understood the science of Krishna. Why? Because the Atma, the soul does not desire anything. The purity of soul is only to serve Krishna. But this all, to just give you an analogy, Bhishma Pitama was pierced by all the arrows. So many arrows pierced him, even not an inch of Bhishma Pitama was spared. Similarly, the same thing happens to us. What happens? The arrows of greed, the arrows of attachment, the sarvikar, those arrows, when they hit us, the sadgun, the virtues comes out from our body. As the Bhishma Pitama had this blood came out from his body, the virtues comes out from our body. So to understand the surrender to Krishna, if you want to test yourself that you have surrendered to Krishna, I have very limited understanding, but my understanding is one. If you still have the desire to enjoy these worldly affairs, then you have not yet, because why I'm saying that? Arjun had the same problem. Arjun had a compassion. The problem that Arjun had is that he said that if I slay, if I kill all my relatives, even though I achieve my kingdom, I will not be able to enjoy. I will not be enjoyed the kingdom. So he's still thinking about enjoying himself. But when Lord Shri Krishna starts speaking in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun's is very pure. He understands. There are a lot of verses that we can quote, we can understand. Since due to limited time, I would try to take up another lecture on this. That how would we understand that our senses, or are we purified, or are we really surrendered to Krishna? There are 6 limbs of surrenders. And that goes along that anything that is adverse to bhakti, you should avoid that. Anything that advances, that help you with the bhakti, you should accept that. And along with that, you have a complete faith in Krishna, that Krishna will protect me. I have one very good example to give you from Mahabharata. But again, because Aarti is going on, we have limited time, so we'll speak about that. But very good example of Mahabharata while in a war, how Krishna protects Arjun, because he is fully surrendered. And lastly, your humility. If you are not, if you are not humble enough, then no matter what you do, no matter how much you think that you have knowledge, you have surrendered to Krishna, until the humility is not there, the Krishna will not accept you. So to test yourself, humility and sense gratification. If you don't have this, or if these things are going away slowly from you, and if you're becoming very humble, understand that now that surrender feeling or surrender is coming in you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sunday feast ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai.